This is a quick and easy tutorial on the residential listing agreement, C.A.R Form RLA revised 625. This is the June 2025 version we're looking at. And can you believe that this bundle is 20 pages long? But it's actually very simple to fill out. So we'll start at the top with the disclosure regarding real estate agency relationship. And on the bottom of page 1, the seller is going to sign. So you'll put their name, you'll put your brokerage name, and then you're going to sign, and then you're done. Nothing to do on page 2. And here we are at the actual listing agreement. So you'll put the date that you prepare this form up here in the top left corner, the name of the seller or sellers, brokerage name, property address, assessor's parcel number, which can be found on a property tax bill, on Realist, on an old MLS listing. You can ask the seller. If you really can't find it, leave it blank for now, and you can always come back to it. Listing period. There must be a beginning and ending date. If you leave one of these or both of these blank, this form could be unenforceable. You could make this form null and void. So make sure you have a start and end date. Now, maximum length, it cannot be more than 24 months, but my gosh, who would want a 2-year listing? So just keep that in mind, not to exceed 24 months. Listing price. Write in a numerical value and it will automatically produce a text value of the list price or listing price. If this is a manufactured home or probate, check the appropriate box. And this brings us down to compensation. This is the commission amount the seller is paying the listing brokerage. There is no mention of buyer's agent compensation anywhere on the listing agreement. So we have 3% that the seller is going to pay the listing brokerage. And this and here, if you want to add anything to this, you can put in like a flat fee. Maybe you want to add a TC fee or a broker processing fee. This, whatever you put here, will be added to this. Then there's an or. Check this box if you're just going to do a flat fee listing. There's another or if you're going to use a broker created compensation schedule, which I do not recommend, because if you are ambiguous at all about compensation, it could make it unenforceable. It could nullify this agreement. So when all else fails, just leave a percentage up here, right there. Additional compensation to seller's broker if buyer's unrepresented. This is like a babysitter clause. Why? Because if a buyer, let's say a buyer insists on not having representation, they refuse to have an agent or anyone represent them. Okay, fine. That is going to mean more work for the listing agent. So this allows you to get compensated to deal with that headache, to deal with a buyer that doesn't have representation but is asking for forms. By the way, do not furnish. When I say forms, they're asking what forms to use or for guidance. Guidance should be limited. No blank forms should be given to unrepresented buyers, period. If an unrepresented buyer cannot make an offer without you giving them a blank form, they need representation. They need help. They are incapable of doing the purchase agreement without representation. If you have questions about what I call misfit buyers, leave a comment because I've explored this topic many times, but do not cater and baby misfit buyers. This babysitter clause is because misfit buyers are going to have all sorts of questions and needs and hand-holding and explanations given, which is more work to the listing agent. This is not compensation for you as a listing agent to give blank forms or to do the work for an unrepresented misfit buyer. Keep that in mind. This is just a headache. This is a headache bonus, a babysitter clause. Continuation, put 90 days. This protects you so that if this agreement expires or is canceled and a potential buyer walked through due to your marketing efforts, but didn't make an offer until after this agreement expired or canceled, well, you're protected for up to 90 days. So put 90 days there. This deals with if there's a previous broker, maybe there's some sort of history with an old listing agreement and you're the new listing agent, that's when this applies. Usually you have nothing to do here. This is just kind of good to know stuff. So, I mean, I skip it. Let me just be honest. I skip this unless I know for sure there is a leased item. But this is actually good guidance for a conversation to have with the seller to discuss if they have leased items or if there's a lien on title, because that will create a headache down the road. So it's good to know about what you're getting into. There's nothing on here that's enforceable or contractual about this. This is just a matter of it's helping agents organize issues that may come up later. That's the point of all this. So C.A.R. MLS, probably the least bad MLS, my favorite, I guess, just because their coverage. So I'll put in C.A.R. MLS. It's going to be marketed in the MLS. All right. And then, by the way, this is kind of a dated clause because this goes back to when seller concessions were offered in the MLS, which they're not. So just skip it. And skip all this. Again, we're making this easy, right? We don't have to do anything here. By the way, this right here, this is kind of an obnoxious clause. By default, it's saying, like I doubt agents probably even read this, but check this box. Check this box. Because the seller should be given anything that their agent receives from a buyer, including letters. Okay, this is a silly clause right here. So check this box. Okay, this has no business being in here. Quite frankly, just skip it. Let's see what else. Nothing else here. We're scrolling through. Seller is going to initial. We're making progress. We're going through this so fast. Look at this. Sea of text, this ocean of text we're scrolling through because we're doing this quickly and easily. Seller is going to sign here. If they're an entity, LLC, trust, corporation, they'll check this box, write a name of the entity here, the name of the authorized signer, Jane Doe, Sally Seller. That's the authorized signer, the individual person who's signing on behalf of this entity, if it's an entity, okay? Because an individual needs to sign on behalf of the entity, but the entity is the owner. They're the seller that you would put here if it's an entity. If it's an individual, like Sally Seller, you just put the name here. And Sally's going to sign right there. You're going to sign down here. And you're basically done. Page 7 of 7 of the RLA. Very simple, right? Now, one last topic that can become complicated because it's been a point of contention. This has to do with clear cooperation. So there's this whole multiple listing service addendum, MLSA, that's incorporated in this listing agreement. And so this will automatically import the data that you entered above, but you'll need to write in the date of the listing agreement of above. You'll need to write that in. And you don't really need to do anything here, but it's just talking all about. It's like an advisory for the MLS. And a seller can opt out. But because of clear cooperation, that means you as the agent, you cannot publicly market the property. It's an all or nothing proposition. If you don't like it, take it up with the board of realtors, okay? I don't make the rules. I'm just telling you as a broker how to comply with them. Because, and it even says here, seller instructs broker to exclude the property from the MLS. And it says seller understands that no public marketing will occur, and that basically just allows the listing agent to discuss with other licensees in their office, kind of a word of mouth thing, but there cannot be any public marketing. And go ahead and read this whole thing. Clear cooperation doesn't apply. I have yet to see a scenario in which clear cooperation doesn't apply. Okay? If you want to contest anything I'm saying here, please, by all means, please prove me wrong. I'm happy to discuss in the comments, but I'm just letting you know. And then the seller's going to sign, you're going to sign. And then all sorts of advisories and disclaimers and just basic, the seller's going to sign, you're going to sign. Oh, there's a question that I get a lot here. And that is because one of these many advisories has a place for, so here's an example. It asks for the buyer's name, okay? Well, we don't know who the buyer is because this is a listing agreement. Just leave it blank. Don't worry about it. If you don't know, because they recycle some of these forms. There's a lot of overlap with CAR forms. If you don't know the buyer's name, that's why this clause up here is so silly, because the buyer is going to request the NHD and they're going to list an NHD company. So why is it here? So there's these kind of temporal issues with these forms, but it's not a big deal. That's it. You already know how to fill this out. That's how simple this form is, okay? If you have any questions, please leave a comment, and I do hope you found this helpful. Thank you for watching.